Translation: Lord Brahma said, O personality of Godhead, you're situated in every living entity's heart as a supreme director, and therefore you are aware of all endeavors by your superior intelligence without any hindrance whatsoever. I'll read that again. Lord Brahma said, O personality of Godhead, you're situated in every living entity's heart as a supreme director, and therefore you are aware of all endeavors by your superior intelligence without any hindrance whatsoever. The Bhagavad Gita confirms that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart as a witness, and as such, he is the supreme director of sanction. The director is not the enjoyer of the fruits of action, for without the Lord's sanction, no one can enjoy. For example, in a prohibited area, a habituated drunkard puts forward his application to the director of drinking, and the director, considering his case, sanctions only a certain amount of liquor for drinking. Similarly, the whole material world is full of many drunkards, in the sense that each and every one of the living entities has something in his mind to enjoy, and everyone desires the fulfillment of his desires very strongly. The Almighty Lord, being very kind to the living entity, as the Father is kind to the Son, fulfills the living entity's desire for his childish satisfaction. With such desires in mind, the living entity does not actually enjoy, but he serves the bodily whims unnecessarily without profit. The drunkard does not derive any profit out of drinking, but because he has become a servant of the drinking habit and does not wish to get out of it, the merciful Lord gives him all facilities to fulfill such desires. The impersonalists recommend that one should become desireless, and others recommend banishing desires altogether. That is impossible. No one can banish desires altogether because desiring is a living symptom. Without having desire, a living entity would be dead, which he is not. Therefore, living conditions and desire go together. Perfection of desires may be achieved when one desires to serve the Lord. And the Lord also desires that every living entity banish all personal desires and cooperate with his desire. That is the last instruction of the Bhagavad Gita. Brahmaji agreed to this proposal, and therefore he's given the responsible post of creating generations in the vacant universe. Oneness with the Lord therefore consists of dovetailing one's desires with the desire of the Supreme Lord. That makes for the perfection of all desires. The Lord, as a super soul in the heart of every living being, knows what is in the mind of each living entity, and no one can do anything without the knowledge of the Lord within. By his superior intelligence, the Lord gives everyone the chance to fulfill his desires to the fullest extent, and the resultant reaction is also awarded by the Lord. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gina Gina Salakaya Chakshur On Militam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karotu Vachalam Pangurlangai Tegirim Lakta Tanaham Bande Shri Guru Vinatari. So here, Lord Brahma is speaking to the personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. And we know from Bhagavad Gita that Krishna tells Arjuna Sarvasya chaham ridi shani vishto mataksmitir gyanam ohanam cha. That in the 15th chapter of Gita, Krishna is telling Arjuna that I am situated in everyone's heart. And from me comes remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness. By me, all the Vedas are to be known because I am, in fact, the author of the Vedas, and I am the end goal of all the Vedas. Vedantavid Vedavid eva chaham. So this is the position of God, that he is situated within everyone's heart, although the foolish non-devotees, whether they're impersonalists or simply merely karmis, working hard for material acquisitions, blind to the existence of God. Krishna says, Naham prakasha sarvasyam yoga maya samavitaha mudhoyam nabijanati mamebhya param avyayam. He says, I don't manifest myself. Even in the story of Mahabharata, even in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, we see that many personalities just thought that Krishna was a great human being. Duryodhana tried to actually capture Krishna when he went to try and negotiate and reconcile the Kauravas with the Pandavas and asked for one village for each Pandav. And Duryodhana decided, let's wrap Krishna in ropes, tie him up, let's abduct him, so to speak. Krishna manifests his Mahaprakash, his Vishvarup, his entire universal form in front of Duryodhana and his brothers, and still they thought, oh, he's just doing some magic. So they didn't accept him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Further in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Mayata tamidam sarvam jagyada vyaktamurtina madstani sarvabhutani maitete shuchapyaham machayam sarvabhutani pasyame yogam aishvaram bhuta vrind eva bhutasyo mamatma bhuta bhavitaha. He says that I'm spread everywhere within this universe, in every atom, in everyone's heart, even between the atoms. God is there. This is the example given by Srila Prabhupada is the sun's energy is all pervading throughout the sky, throughout the planets. And yet the sun God is on the sun planet, and the sun planet is millions of miles away. So the Ishopanishad says, Tadejati tadnaijati tad dure tadvantikai. That the Lord walks and he doesn't walk. He's very close and he's very far as well. So how can we reconcile this seeming paradox? Behold my mystic power. Pasyame yogam aishvaram, tells Arjuna that let's see my mystic power. Although I'm the source of all living beings and all living beings are inside of me, still I remain aloof from all that is created, from all things created. Bhuta Brinacha Bhuta Sto Mama Bhuta Bhavitaha. So this is the mystic position of the Lord. So of course, all living entities have desires. Unfortunately, when the living entity comes in contact with the modes of nature, Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun, the two lower modes are very destructive and inconducive to spiritual advancement. So the living entity is always desiring, but he doesn't understand that he is not the doer, that he's influenced by the mode of passion and therefore thinks himself the doer. Even in the mode of goodness, a person may be highly intelligent, doctor or philosopher, still he's thinking, oh, I'm so intelligent. He thinks he is ahamameti, I and mine, my brain, my body. So this is the Purusho Prakritisto Hi Bhunkte Prakriti Sadgunan Karanam Guna Sangosya Sadasa Joni Chanmashu. Because of this, living entity is lost in this world of birth and death, traveling through all the 8,400,000 species of life throughout the various universes, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagavan Jeev Guru, until he comes in contact with a bona fide guru. So here, Krishna allows for one's desires to be fulfilled. In, I believe, the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that there's 5 factors of action. Adhistanam tatakartam karanam chapritag vidam vividam chapritag cheshtam daivam shaivatna panchamam. There's 5 factors of action: the place and time, adhistanam, the takartam, the action itself, and karanam chapritag vidam, the instruments of action, the senses, the mind, the working senses, the knowledge acquiring senses, all these things come into play. But the most important is Daivam. Daivam is the 5th element, and that is Krishna. So the Lord is sanctioning your desires. You may want to be a billionaire, but it may be not written in your karma at the time of birth. So you're trying so hard to fulfill these material desires, but the Lord only sanctions what you deserve. And then, of course, one has to pay for his sinful acts if one has sinful desires. So desire cannot be extinguished, as Prabhupada says here, the desire cannot be banished. The Mayavadis are making all kinds of attempts to banish their desires. The Buddhists, Nirvishesha Shunyavad, make everything zero, not possible. Just as the symptom of the sun is light and heat and pervasive energy throughout the universe. Ita prakashati ekam kritsnam lokam imam ravi. In that verse, Krishna says, just as the sun's rays occupy the entire universe, kritsnam lokam imam ravi, so the soul within the body, it illuminates the entire body with consciousness. And the soul is eternal, as we know. It can't be cut by any weapon, can't be burned by fire, it can't be withered by the wind, moistened by water. It is transcendental to these material things. So Krishna is allowing the desires of living entities, and he warns Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Vishyandriya samyogad yatat agri mitopamam pariname vishameva tatsukam rajasam smrutam. In that verse in the 18th chapter, Krishna tells Arjuna that Vishyandriya samyogad, that pleasure which is based on contact between the senses and the objects of the senses. In the beginning, it's like nectar. It tastes really nice. It's really fun, you know, and great, engaging in sense gratification, the hedonistic pursuit of life. Enjoy your senses till the end of life, and then you die. This is the demoniac mentality. But then he says, Pariname Visham Eva. After some time, it tastes like poison. And Prabhupada, of course, in the purport to this verse says that a man and woman are attracted to each other, and it's very nice in the beginning, but after some time, there's separation or divorce. So many problems are there, there's quarreling, and so on. So because of this materialistic enterprise in the mode of passion, there's nothing but miseries. So the devotee, he has to come to understanding. And Prabhupada mentions the 18th chapter, that the last instruction of Bhagavad Gita, here in the second to last paragraph, Perfection of desiring may be achieved only when one desires to serve the Lord. And the Lord also desires that every living entity banish or forego his personal desires, cooperate with desires of the Lord. So that is the secret of Bhakti Yoga. Prapanchikatya Buddha Hari Sambani Vastunama Mukshik Purigyagi Falgu Vairagya Muchite. To those who think they can just reject the desires of the living entity, not this, not that, in 1880, this philosophy of Sankaracharya, rejecting everything, is condemned by Rupa Goswami in the Upadeshamrita as being Falgu Vairagya, or false renunciation. The soul is active, the soul is full of desire. So, anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya uchite. The following verse, Rupa Goswami describes: the one engages in fulfilling desires of the Lord by desiring to please the Lord. Iha yasya harir yasya karmana manasa kira nikilashva apuvavastasu jivanmukta suyuchate. Rupa Goswami says that if you engage everything, your property, your mind, your brain, your senses, your body, everything in the service of Krishna, then even in this material body, you are Jivan Mukta, you're a liberated soul. So this is Yukta Vairagya, to use everything, how to serve the Lord under the guidance, of course, under the guidance of a bona fide Acharya. Srila Prabhupada is in the line of the cyclic succession coming down from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Kali Yuga avatar. Kali Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishna, Vedavyas states that in the age of Kali, the Lord appears as Trisha Krishna, not dark. Sangopangas Chaparshadam, his only weapons will be his associate Sadvaitacharya, Lord Nityananda, his plenary expansion, Lord Balaram, Gadadhar, expansion of Radharani, and of course, Narada Muni, Srivas Thakur. So they come and by their dancing and chanting, they teach us how to use everything in the service of the Lord. And Rasavarjam Rasopiyasya, to taste the highest pleasure. That in the beginning, practice of Bhakti Yoga, where one denies the senses from meat eating, intoxication. So in the beginning, Niraharasya Dehinam, Rasavarjam Rasopiyasya, we reject these impulses to enjoy sense gratification, but after some time becomes very sweet. Yatat agre vishameva hariname mitotamam tatsukam satvikam shmitam. But that is happiness in the mode of goodness, to deny the urges of the mind and senses for enjoyment, to regulate oneself. And then what happens is the pleasure of chanting the holy names of God, the pleasure of serving the Lord, 9 processes of devotional service, one derives real happiness within. This is at least beginning of transcending the modes of nature and engaging in the mode of goodness in the service of Krishna, not just mundane goodness, but Vishuddha Shatvam, pure transcendental goodness, serving the Lord with one's mind, body, and soul, like that. So this is called, as we mentioned, Yukta Vairagyam, or dovetailing in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, and of course, the spiritual master, to take guidance from the spiritual master's instructions, the Shiksha Guru, the Vartmana Pradarshaka Guru, the Diksha Guru, the Acharyas, Tatta Karma Pravartanat, one has to follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas. And we have great examples of how the six Goswamis gave up all kinds of aristocratic positions. Chaktaturna Mashesha Mandalapati Srinam Sada Kuchara. They gave up all ideas for aristocratic position. So much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more in the future. Demoniac kind of mentality. And depending on the Supreme Lord, of course, the six Goswamis are such great devotees that they they gave up eating, sleeping, even eating and sleeping. What speak of mating? They gave everything up to serve the Lord. This is a symptom of a great advanced devotee of the Lord. So we reject the impersonalism. It's the greatest offense to the Lord to, first of all, reject his existence and somehow try to, as Prabhupada is mentioning here, that this kind of impersonalism is very, very much rejected by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Lord is directing our wanderings. He is the director, fulfilling our desires. So finally, Krishna tells Arjuna, Chitasa Sarva Durgani Mam Prasada Tarishyasi Atacha Tvam Ahankaram Machita Sarva Durgani Mat Prasada Tarishyasi. That by my mercy, if you become conscious of me, I'll remove all the obstacles in your life. That means the cycle of birth and death. These are the real problems of life, not that, I need a better bank balance. No, Krishna already promises, Yoga Kshema Bahamyaham, he promises, that Ananyas Chintamantyam, Chintayanto Mam Yajana Paryapasate. I supply whatever you need. What to speak of a devotee? Even the elephant and the ant gets his quota every day. This whole advancement of material civilization, Prabhupada says, simply a waste of time, because the Lord can supply unlimited amounts of resources for us to survive on. The Lord is a supplier. Nitya Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. So he's supplying. So Krishna said, Tvam Ahankaram. If you act out of false ego, not hearing this Bhagavad Gita, Nashoshasi Vanangshasi, if you don't hear from me, your guru, Krishna becomes Arjuna's spiritual master. They were friends. They were, chatting together, joking together, hunting together, lying in bed together, like Sakyaras, good friends. But then Krishna had to put Arjuna in a situation so that he could speak this Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield, of course, and that it was his desire to eliminate all the demoniac influences on this world by using Arjuna as his instrument. Savyasachin, you're my instrument, Arjuna. Do what I tell you. Everyone on this battlefield is already dead. Krishna says, Kalos me, Bharatarshava. I am the time itself, And for the non-devotee or atheist or demonic person, Krishna comes as death personified. Unfortunate. So one who is a devotee is very rare. And so many instructions, Krishna is saying, Tasmat Sarvasi Bhuteshu, Mam Anusmara Yujacha, while doing your service, Arjuna, of fighting, Yudhya, Yuyutsavaha, while fighting, you should remember me. So while engaging in service in the temple or in preaching, chanting Harinam, and so on, we always have to remember that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in so many ways, included within the hearts of all living beings. And our only business really is to try and deliver these souls from this horrible Kali Yuga where they really don't understand Nate Vidusu Artagatimi Vishnu. They really don't understand the Vishnu's in their heart. Dirashraye Bahir Artamanina, that they're foolishly looking outside for happiness. Andarya Tandara Paniyamana. Andar, darkness. It's like in the fifth canto, Jada, it's describing the, Sukadeva is describing, Sukadeva Goswami, the hellish planets. And he's describing a planet, Anda. Andar means blindness. So there's Anda to Mishra, a hellish planet like that, where one is punished for having illicit sex. Creamy Bojana, another planet where a person is sent after, at the time of death, a human being, of course, is taken down by the Yamadutas into these planets of punishment. Suchi Mukha, Creamy Bojana, Suchi Mukha, Mahararava, Tamishra, Kala Sutra. So many different descriptions of hellish planets. And then after that, unfortunately, Krishna says, Tata pralinas tamasa mudho jonisu jayate. If one dies in the mode of ignorance, unfortunately, he takes birth in his next life in the animal species. Mudho jonisu jayate. He takes birth in the womb of an animal. So Haridas Thakur is trying to relieve the anxiety of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Actually, God himself is very much attached to his parts and parcels, going back to the spiritual world and living eternally in knowledge and bliss and happiness. No one can be happy in the material world. No way. It's a place of misery, Dukkhalayam Shashvatam. So Haridas Thakur is saying, your holy name is so powerful, as we know. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Uno Shuddho Nityo Mukto Binadvam Nama Namine. The holy name of the Lord is non-different from God himself with all his Shaktis, all his potencies. You can imagine, Krishna says, the Shashi Shuryayo, the sun is my eye. The energy of the sun, that's me. All these planets come emanating from Krishna's plenary portion, Karana Daksha Vishnu. So you can imagine the potencies invested in his holy names. And Haridas Thakur is trying to relieve the anxiety of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, God himself, by saying, even the trees get benefit. When you were going through Jharikand forest and you were chanting loudly and you thought it was the echo of the trees. No, the trees were chanting. So, in the age of Kali, the process of loving God and liberation of the soul from the cycle of birth and death is very simple and easy. And because Kali Yuga is so dense and so has such a huge impact, even now we're only 5,000 years into Kali Yuga, there's so much degradation, even here in India, so much degradation of Kali, the personality of Kali. So Kalir Doshani Dera Janastireka Mahadganan Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sango Param Bhajet. That these holy names have been invested with so much potency that if you simply utter one name of Krishna, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, you become relieved of more sinful activities than you could ever commit. And there's a verse quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj when Haridas Thakur is explaining the greatness of the holy name. Even you say it in a joking way, oh, Hare Krishna, you still get the benefit and you become liberated at that point in time just by uttering Hare Krishna. Even if you say the holy name of God in two different sentences, like ha, and then later on you say re, in a sentence, you still get Krishna is so kind. He gives his mercy. Okay, it's fine. You get my mercy. You become liberated at that point. Of course, the profound reaction of eating the flesh of cows, in fact, any animal, but of course, all over the Vedas, it describes the cow as one of the seven mothers. Krishna has placed the cow on this planet, the descendant of the Sarabi cows in the spiritual world, to help society cultivate spiritual culture, spiritual consciousness, even by worshiping a cow, by drinking urine of the cow, by accessing all the various products from the milk of the cow. All the demigods, reside in the cow's body. So it's very special. Therefore, killing of a cow is a very severe offense, very profound offense against the Vedic culture, and one is punished horrendously. In the Second World War, millions of people were killed. 30 million people were killed during the communist revolutions of Russia, China. So many. They killed their own. Millions of people were killed. The purging, it's called the Russian purge of Stalin, or the Mao Zedong. He killed any intellectual. So these are reactions. Krishna warns in 16th chapter, Etam Dristam Avastabhya Nastalpano Prabhudaya Prabhavanti Ugra Karmana Shayaya Jagato Hitaha. That people who do not follow the Vedic literatures, the Shastras, and engage in all kinds of whimsical activities like animal slaughter and so on, their civilization will be destroyed. Shayaya Jagato Hitaha. Their own civilization will be destroyed. So this is the apex, the most important of all knowledge, the most important of all education. This is the Raja Vidya, king of all in education. Without this education, human society, as Prabhupada used to say, you are doomed. Your American civilization is doomed. You tell everyone wants to go to America and prosper, but due to sinful activities, animal slaughter and so on, abortions, all these different things, that karmic reaction is there in so many ways. And ultimately, Prabhupada said in the 10th canto, one of his last purports, he said, Krishna is the source of matasmitir jnanam apohanam. He's the source of apohanam, or forgetfulness of God, which is atheism. He says, so one day they may release the atomic weapons, and then the entire world, their whole civilization will be brought to its knees, So our mission is to see the Lord in everyone's heart, to avoid the demonic people, to approach the innocent, to associate with devotees, Dadati Patigirinati Goyam Akiti Prichati, Bhukte Bonjayate, share prasadam with each other, inquire confidentially, or give confidential advice to someone you trust. Giving gifts, exchanging gifts. Prabhu, here's a nice bead bag. Prabhu, here's a nice kurta. And accepting gifts. These are wonderful exchanges that we do amongst devotees. The 6 different types. So we associate with devotees, take shelter of more advanced devotees. We avoid the demons, preach to the innocent. This is Madhyam Adhikari. So Prabhupada said, be a Madhyam Adhikari, don't remain a neophyte, Kanishta. Kanishta Adhikari, they don't see Krishna in everyone's heart. They see Krishna in the temple, and they go and beg him for some material prosperity. some material thing. So that is Prakrita Bhakti, or materialistic devotee. People go to churches, mosques, synagogues. God, give me something. You know, a devotee wants simply to relieve the stress and anxiety of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by spreading his mission. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Parambrajat. That simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord publicly, this is the Yuga Dharma, the Dharma of the age of Kali. And the Lord is giving us all types of tools, all types of weapons with which to wage war against Maya. One who surrenders to the Guru Parampara, the bona fide civic succession, which was revived by Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Madhavendra Puri also is known as the root of the tree of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is so called the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we simply, as our mission is simply to enlighten the world and deliver them from this place of danger. Shamashitaye Padapadabhavam Mahatpadam Punya Yashomarari. Vamvadev Vatsa Padam 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 Yad Vipadam Natesham. That step by step in this world, people will go through so many dangerous situations. At any moment, you could Kamala Dalajala, you could lose your life, you could lose your property, you could so many things, lose your children. So many diseases are there, all kinds of modern diseases like cancer, heart disease. So it's simply a place of overwhelming suffering. And sometimes people accuse us, non-devotees, why are you so pessimistic? Well, our eyes have been opened with the salve of love of Guru. The spiritual masters cut out the cataract. So we're not blind. We see all the various pathologies in Kali Yuga. So many pathologies, so much problems, national, international, community, family, all the way down to family in this Kali Yuga. And then there's the bodily problems, people dying from cancer because of all the air pollution, water pollution, this pollution, that pollution. So we have to take shelter of the enemy of the Mura demon, Lord Krishna. He's killed the Mura demon. And this whole ocean of danger can be reduced into as much water that can be fit into the hoof print of a calf. So that is the promise of Lord Krishna, that he will take care of his devotees, and devotees will be always protected in all circumstances. It doesn't mean that a devotee doesn't die. It's like the demons, they're always aspiring to get immortality. Like Ravana, he tried to build a staircase up to heaven and defy the laws of God, you know. And Hiranyakashipu, am I still on?
Yes.
Okay, because the Wi-Fi is acting up. So yeah, Hiranyakashipu tried to carve out some immortality, worshiping Lord Brahma, you know, performing such great austerities. He lost all his bodily fat, his muscle, everything. Is just sustaining his soul in the skeleton of his body. And Lord Brahma was forced to come and try to give him a benediction. So people are trying to carve out some form of immortality here in this world without accepting the Supreme Lord. But Krishna is actually the source of immortality. Saganam Samatityaitan Brahma Boyaya Kalpate, transcendental, the material body and mind, and engage in Bhakti Yoga. That is the secret of life. So I can stop here. It is 9:24. I'm sorry, I think I spoke a little too long, but it was nice. So I can open up the floor if anyone has some comments, questions. Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much.
Thank you so much for your.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. His Grace Kripanidhi Prabhu. Dear devotees, if anyone may have question, comment, realization, but before we do that, because Prabhuji may have to leave very soon, I just wanted to share a very short and brief bio about our revered speaker, His Grace Kripanidhi Prabhu. Prabhuji, his body was produced in Guyana.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but he took initiation in the US in 72. He was very young at that age, very young man, 21. And the most interesting part of Prabhuji, your life story is how you were so much specially blessed to personally hand dig the samadhi of Jagat Guru Param Guru Srila Prabhupada. So that is a very special mercy. And Krishna and Guru are so merciful, so kind that we have your association today, which by itself is a very wonderful purification. Because those of us who were here, we do this online Bhagavatam class Monday through Friday. And yesterday, those of us who were here were all contaminated by a very Rahu-like entity who entered in between the moon and the sun, taking away the sun.
Oh.
Yes, and today somehow Guru and Krishna has blessed us by bringing us the Lord Chaitanya's moon to shine on us. So we thank you so much for being here. Prabhuji has been a very wonderful book distributor. He is now currently in Mayapur with his family. Prabhuji also loves education, training people, teaching people, and he also is involved with Bhakti Vedanta Institute of Education. Probably he's almost everywhere, and we can see the bliss in Prabhuji's lotus face. And Prabhuji, we pray for your blessings that somehow we remain in Srila Prabhupada's beautiful home, Iskcon, and serve at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
So we go to His Grace Shrimavara Prabhu. Please, you may unmute.
Hi, Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances, Prabhuji, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the assembly devotees. Of course, what Sadi Prabhu just said is very true, that your class today is a Benedictine moon, that is suiting the heart from whatever blizzard that happened to us yesterday. So we thank you very much for refreshing us. My question is a question that has been bothering my mind a little bit about the holy name. We said that the holy name, it has its effect, whether you chant it jokingly, whether you chant it anyhow, that the holy name cannot be contaminated. You can chant it in the toilet, you can chant anywhere. The holy name is always transcendental to any condition. But then again, we say that, people like to quote. I want to understand that quotation from Prabhupada, that Milk touched by snake becomes poisonous. So holy name from the mouth of an unauthorized person, one should avoid that. So I'm trying to see, isn't there a contradiction here? How can the name of the Lord that cannot be contaminated be compared to milk that can be contaminated? Milk is material, but the holy name of God is not material. So I'm still finding it hard to understand that example. So maybe you can help us. Hare Krishna.
It's a good question. I don't know if I have the answer. Really though, we know Shruti Shmiti Pranadi Pancharachi Vidya Vidam Aikantiki Hare Bhaktir. That Sanatana Goswami says that anyone who gives the Shrutis and Smritis, which is also, Prabhupada said that all these words in the Bhagavatam from the Smritis, this is also the chanting of the holy name, because Krishna has written these books. Upataya Vakalpateya, that it's a disturbance to human society. So it has to come through a transcendent parent via media, someone who is without any contamination of material motives or misconceptions about God. It's like if you're having a yagya and you're not using the proper ghee. It's described that like pouring some other substance on the sacrificial fire won't be successful. So a person who is a materialist, or who's an impersonalist, or who has desires for some mystic powers, yoga and all this, they're not qualified, because Krishna is only, the holy name is not different from Krishna. So Krishna reciprocates with his unalloyed devotee. So the holy name has to come from the Guru Parampara, or else it is a disturbance in society. It is the holy name cannot be contaminated, but the person giving it is not qualified to give it. Like if you give initiation to someone and you're not qualified, you're committing sinful acts, or you don't understand that Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, then of course it's simply a useless waste of time. We know in the first canto, Dharma Swanustita Pumsham, you can follow Varnashram Dharma, but if there's no love for Krishna, then you've wasted your time. Shama Evi Kevalam. So similarly, the holy name, there is some effect there, but the purpose of the holy name, even if a meat eater chants the holy name, he gets the benefit of the holy name. He can't contaminate it, but he can never get love of God. There's so many people in India that are impersonalists, and they chant the holy name Hari Ram, Hari Krishna, but they can't get love for Krishna. It's not possible. And the goal of chanting the holy name is not just for liberation. Haridas Thakur speaks to Gopal Chakravarti, who is a Mayavadi. And he says, oh, it'll take millions of lifetimes for you to get liberation. Why are you saying this? And Haridas Thakur says, no, if even a fool chants Hare Krishna, even a sinner chants Hare Krishna, at that point he's completely liberated from sinful reactions. So the holy name is all powerful, but the purpose of the holy name is prema pumarta, to develop our love of God. That's the purpose of the holy name. So that you can't get unless you're being guided by the Acharya representing the Gaudiya Sampradaya. That's the difference. Water, you can mix water with mud, but still water is there in its pure form. You can mix so many elements in it. There's so many dead animals here go floating down the Ganga, but the Ganga is never unpure. But you can get a disease if you happen to contact the dead animal floating. So you, as the recipient of the holy name, you have to receive it from the bona fide authorities, or else you won't get this pure love of God. You will never get the taste of the holy name. You'll never attain raga bhakti or attachment to the holy name. You'll never become free of offenses to the holy name. That's what we are trying to attain, is Sudanami Ruchi, Sudanam or Premanam, love for the Lord in the form of his holy name, non-different from the Lord himself. When my eyes flow full of tears and my body start convulsing while chanting the holy name of the Lord, Lord Chaitanya leaves these prayers. So the giver may be contaminated, the recipient may be contaminated if he doesn't get it in the right channel, from the right channels. That would be my uneducated description.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for at least being taking a good attempt at explaining this. I just want to ask a follow-up question on this. I don't mean to be persistent, but I'm trying to convince myself also of what you're saying. But then the question still coming is, sometimes people say that Prabhupada those who succeeded Prabhupada are not qualified, and that unless you have an Uttama Hadikari that can give you initiation, the Aritnam, you cannot really advance spiritually. All that stuff. We had that yesterday. Now, but I'm still talking about the strength, the potency of the holy name. We've seen, yes, people who have all kind of desires, and then they acted as guru and they fell by the side. But those whom they preached to, those whom they gave the holy name, continue. So the potency of the holy name is acting. This is my argument against those who say that Prabhupada did not have qualified successors. But we could see that these same successors, their preaching activities, even though some of them might fall by the wayside, but the preaching, whatever they've left behind, is going on. And many people who came in contact with those people are still, in good standing in Krishna consciousness. So this is the potency of the holy name from my own side. This is how I see it. So I don't see where the holy name gets contaminated or loses its potency because it's coming from some unauthorized source. That's my point. Anyway, maybe you have some more comments on that. Thank you.
Well, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, says the holy name does not wait for initiation. That's for sure. However, it also states in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and this is discussion with Haridas Thakur, that when one receives initiation, don't forget the holy name is not some impersonal kind of mechanical thing, a machine. It's a person. He is Krishna. The holy name is Krishna. So Krishna has a choice how he's going to act from his holy name. He's there in his holy name, isn't he? He's absolute. So if a person is cheating, he's giving the holy name, but he is cheating, or he's not understanding the Siddhanta, the Vaishnava Siddhanta, then the full benefit, just like if a person's, the sun is always powerful, but if very simple explanation, if you stand in the shade or if it's cloudy, the sun is all powerful, but you're not getting the full benefit of the sun's rays. As far as Prabhupada's followers go, Uttama Adhikari, this movement is working under the umbrella. It is a Shishya movement, or Srila Prabhupada's books are held prominently. They are the books that guides our movement. And Prabhupada lives in his words, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. The great acharyas, the great devotees live in their words. He reasons ill who thinks that Vaishnavas die. Prabhupada hasn't really left us. He's in his purports. He's in his words. So he's with us every day when we read the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada's right there telling us, guiding us, directing us. So in that sense, Shishya is more important than Diksha. So as many Dikshas have fallen down, Diksha gurus, I've known many of them. That's unfortunate, but it says the danger of projecting oneself as an Uttama Adhikari when one is not is like poisonous, and it can cause your fall down. That was described to me by Pralandananda Maharaj. He quoted it from somewhere. When you're offending, if you presume or pretend to be something that you're not, that's duplicity. It will is a cause of a fall down. So to put ourselves on a plateau that we're not on, a pedestal, very dangerous. We should admit where we are. Most of us, Prabhupada said, must come to the platform of Madhyamadikari, preaching devotees. When one becomes a Mahabhagwat like Prahlad Maharaj or Bali Maharaj or, Swayambhuva Manu, it'll be obvious. When I saw Prabhupada, when we saw Srila Prabhupada, when we saw his presence, when we just associated with him, the accomplishments he did, this is no ordinary devotee, no ordinary devotees. Krishna Shakti Vinana here, it's empowered. So getting back to this absolute idea of the holy name, yeah, it's all powerful, just like the sun. But are you standing in full, exposure to the sun? Do you have the proper guide giving you this holy name, or is it some person that says speculating about, the Vedas and so on? And personalists also chant the Hare Krishna mantra. They'll never get the fruit of love of God. That's the goal, love of God. They might get some moksha, but then aruru kitchena param padam tata. You might attain moksha for a little bit, then you come back to this world because the soul is active. The soul can't just be suspended forever in, an inanimate situation. It has to fulfill, it has to be active. The symptom of the soul is it's active, it's dynamic. So that's my explanation, is that things have to be given through the proper channels. The professor at the university, if he's not qualified, he can talk to all about mathematics, but if he hasn't been recognized and certified by the academic institutions, then what kind of a professor is he? That's a kind of a mundane example, but I can use it. You can use that example also, for argument's sake.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I have a question connected to this answer you gave, Prabhuji. And that is an Uttama Adhikari. This Uttama Adhikari, as explained by Srila Prabhupada, if my memory serves me right, are such Paka devotees. They don't preach. And so Uttama Adhikaris, in order for them to preach, they have to step down to the Madhyama level to preach. And I am seeing a parallel between someone falsely claiming himself to be an Uttama Adhikari and taking disciples, and someone who does not falsify himself to be an Uttama, but sincerely serving his spiritual master in that capacity. If I'm not mistaken, when Srila Prabhupada was physically here with us, he gave initiation to some of his disciples who were not qualified to be sannyasis, but he said that in times of war, somebody will have to become a general, even if he's not qualified. We needed
Yes.
someone to be the general. So my question in brief is, someone who is not posing himself as an Uttam Adhikari, but in the matter of serving his guru on that Madhyama level and taking discipleship. Is there anything wrong with that?
Absolutely not. In the fifth section, fifth chapter of Upadeshamrita, Prabhupada gives in his purport, he gives in illuminates on this point that even Kanishta, who really doesn't see Krishna in everyone's heart when he goes to preach, he's just Kanishta. It says that he may accept disciples also, but one should know that due to his inadequate advancement, that one cannot make a lot of advancement. Prabhupada uses those words. I mean, I'm ad-libbing a little bit. I'm not verbatim, but those are the gist of it.
Yeah.
What to speak if one should be a Madhyamadikar, which means we are in the mood of preaching and delivering the fallen souls, and we're being empowered by Krishna. I saw in Prabhupada's presence, he empowered so many devotees to like distribute millions and millions of books to atheistic people. In America, most people are agnostic. They say they believe in God, but very, very, their actions don't speak the same as they say. And yet we were able to introduce this, what you might call alien religion, non-traditional religion in America, by the millions and millions of books distributed, millions and millions and millions of books distributed. It was a feeling of empowerment when you were approaching people. As you're full of enthusiasm, determination, ecstasy. All the great acharyas are working through you to spread the movement. So you're empowered by this line of acharyas. The line of acharyas is unbroken from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they're like infusing us with that power to spread this movement. However, in our state of Vedi Bhakti, if we're pretentious and try to project ourselves, it's very dangerous to want to get special respect and all this pratishta, adoration, distinction, following, profit. These are all stumbling blocks on the path to pure devotional service. So therefore, many of my God brothers ran into difficulty. It doesn't mean that they, they didn't accomplish anything for Srila Prabhupada. They accomplished a lot, but many mistakes were there. And Krishna even abandoned the Gopis, was speak of some Madhyamadikaris. Krishna, when the Gopis were feeling entitled and special, Krishna just left them and went and hid in the forest. They were looking for Krishna. Where are you? But to speak of us, the Gopis are the most elevated souls in the entire creation of God, more so than anyone else. So Krishna sometimes has to give us a little slap when we get out of hand. Ego, the false ego, that's the big problem.
Well, what you see, talking about the Gopis, we all know that the Gopis are the topmost devotees of the Lord. Yet still, there are categorization of the Gopis because, like we said, the topmost yogi is Srimati Radharani. So that means there is a categorization. There are those who were like in times of war, who are those who are right on the battlefield, and there are those who are at the back helping with cooking and things like that. They are all considered to be on the battlefield, but actual people on the battlefield are like the topmost. So we read from the scriptures that some of the gopis were actually wives of demigods. And after the pastime, they went back to their various abodes. But here we accept that, okay, they are gopis, they are the topmost devotees. And so just as we classify all the gopis as the topmost devotees, why can't we say that all initiating gurus under Srila Prabhupada, because the individual gurus today may not be an Uttama, but simply because he is simply following Srila Prabhupada's teachings and serving Srila Prabhupada, is also capable of taking souls back home, back to Godhead.
Basically, as initiating gurus, which is not the only type of guru required. I mean, Vardhamana Pradarshika guru is also extremely important. Bringing people to the movement, introducing them to Krishna consciousness, extremely important. Like Lord Chaitanya said, the Maragaya Gurulane Dash, everyone be a guru. So yes, because we're giving these souls to Srila Prabhupada, and then he's offering it to his spiritual master, and it goes all the way up the line to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is God himself. It's all a teamwork.
Yeah.
You know, you're on a team, you've got defense, you've got offense, you've got quarterback, you've got different, you got the coach, you know, you can't just one guy running, you know, running with the ball, you know. Oh, there's all kinds of different devotees with different gunas and karmas. And we all have to work in symbiotic way to spread this movement. I mean, Sarabi Maharaj, I knew him, and he was empowered to build this beautiful temple in Mumbai and Vrindavan, and he was a master, brilliant genius. But he said, I felt empowered by Srila Prabhupada. Similarly, some devotees are expert in organizing book printing and publishing, editing Prabhupada's works, you know. So, and then of course, you know, there's the bullet coming out of the gun. That's the the devotees in the front lines distributing the books. But without deity worship introduced by Sanatana Goswami, you know, Hari Bhakti Vilas, and without the descriptions given by the six Goswamis in their books, given by Srila Prabhupada, without prasadam, which is a great weapon in Kali Yuga, Chaturvidashi Bhagavat Prasado, you know, all these different tools, they're like different parts of the arsenal that we have to fight against Kali Yuga. The war, it's a war against the forces of Kali Yuga. They're in charge. They're controlling. So we have to see it like that. It's a whole military brigade with different aspects, you know, different categories, not just the guy going out every day. And we have to maintain a mood of humility and offer respect to all. Even the guru, the Diksha guru nowadays, are being taught, or leaderships, we're being taught that we're servants. The guru is servant of the disciple. That's how he's supposed to have the attitude. I'm serving these disciples. Not that, you give me some nice money and I'll, do some projects for Prabhupada. Wrong attitudes are very dangerous. Yeah, unfortunately.
Well,
so
thank you.
that's
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I appreciated the answer. Thank you so much. In fact, I had one question originally, but I asked these questions because of the previous question my dear senior corporate asked. And I have a question from the purport. So if I may put the verse on the screen. Srila Prabhupada says that the Almighty Lord, being very kind to the loving entity as the Father is kind to the Son, fulfills the loving entity's desire for his childish satisfaction. Now, if I remember very well, you talked about the Almighty Lord satisfying each and everyone's desires, but you also said that what each and everyone deserves. So I want to find out from you, does Krishna give to living entities what they deserve without even desiring for them? Or Krishna fulfills the desires of each and everyone even if they do not deserve?
I think that it's been mentioned, Karmana Guna Sangosyat and Karmana Divanachana Jehudantu Papataye Striyo Pravishtamadarat Pumsareta Kanashraya. In that verse given by Kapila Dev, I believe, it's described based on two things. One's karma and Divanachana, the hand of God. So it's more than Krishna, like everyone wants to, become rich and have a beautiful wife. These are desires. The Lord Chaitanya says, I don't want nadanam najanam nasundari. But the materialistic person is aspiring to be a multimillionaire everywhere. That's the status quo of modern society. But Krishna is not giving everyone that benediction. So you may or may not have that kind of karma, but ultimately Krishna is the one who allows for the fulfillment of your desires to some extent or not. The final decision, not a blade of grass moves without the sanction. So Krishna is the ultimate sanctioner, and that's in the 18th chapter of the Gita also, in that verse I quoted, that there's 5 factors of action. And then Prabhupada said the ultimate decision maker is Krishna, he's the boss.
Yeah.
So now if you have an inkling of desire to serve God, serve Krishna. Prabhupada had a pharmacy and he wanted to use the fruits of of his business, to serve the Gaudiya Mat. But Krishna had a different plan for him. And so when his pharmacy went bankrupt, Prabhupada laughed and said, yes, yeah, he said, if Krishna really loves you, he takes everything away. And he gives you his pure prema, which is really the greatest treasure of anyone could dream of, is this beautiful love of God, which is there dormant within our hearts, and which Krishna is guiding his devotee. So the devotee may have desires like Dhruva Maharaj, for little pieces of glass, but ultimately Krishna is your well-wisher. And as soon as you decide that you want to be his devotee, he takes over the steering wheel. You better watch out, because you may think, I want to be a millionaire for Krishna. I've heard that many times by devotee. I want to make $1 million and then, I'll build a temple or whatever. And no, that's Krishna knows that you may fall into Maya if you get really rich. And so Krishna takes over and he's guiding his devotees to the ultimate, the real purpose, which is to love Krishna, love of God. So that would be my answer to that one, that once you surrender to Krishna, things change. The non-devotees, they have to follow what their karma dictates, and Krishna has to sanction it to some extent or not. Like Prabhupada said, every man wants to be rich, but only the bare minimum people get really, really wealthy. And so he says that's based on the Lord's sanction and also on their past previous activities.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. This Krishna is a very mischievous, to say the least.
Yeah, he is. Yes. So.
Prabhu, please you me on mute.
Yeah. So I'll end by saying that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was born in an aristocratic family, we know.
Yeah.
And everyone thought, this family, they're so wealthy and this and that. But just see how Krishna, like all his relatives started dying off from diseases. His grandfather lost all his wealth, if we read the biography. And, he was literally a pauper for a while. All the family wealth was gone. So Krishna must have been, really preparing him for some greater accomplishments than, the material ones. So that is, we know that Prabhupada also, Krishna put him in a situation of helplessness and dependency, and ultimately a great empire, a great unbelievable miracle was accomplished by Srila Prabhupada. And when he came back to Mayapur, his best friend, Sridhar Swami, Bhakti Rakshasha Sridhar Swami, he was sitting on the Vyasa with Srila Prabhupada. And he's looking and he was grinning because Sridhar Maharaj is a very introverted person. And he was very, very intellectually introverted. So he said, I would never go off, cross the ocean. But he was sitting with Prabhupada and he was so happy and he said, you did it. And he was like his ecstasy. You did it. Prabhupada was chosen, and he was deriving such pleasure from Srila Prabhupada's great accomplishment as two brothers. They don't see the way we see. They're like brothers, very elevated devotee, Sridhar Maharaj. And Prabhupada was just smiling, Somehow Lord Chaitanya just unfolded the whole explosion of the Hare Krishna movement. Yes, Prabhu, thank you. So
I think we have one more hand up, and maybe we'll call it a day. Yeah. If you may.
Yeah.
Hare Chakra Prabhu, please you may unmute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, thank you very much for the
Hare
elaborate
Krishna.
explanations, and all glories to you and all glories to the assembled devotees. My question is a follow-up of the questions Adi Prabhu asked about the position of a guru, Diksha guru, and all that. We realize that take somebody, for instance, like Srila Prabhupada. We know Prabhupada is such an exalted devotee, but everything Prabhupada does, he attributes it to his guru. Practically speaking, you can realize that the amount of preaching that Prabhupada did was so far ahead, greater than what his guru did. But he never attributed any of his achievement to himself. He always referred to, my Guru Maharaj has sent me these people, my Guru Maharaj has done this. And he keeps telling us that is his success, because he is always holding on to the duty of his Guru Maharaj. Now, a crude example also is like if you go to the university, sometimes somebody who is very good in a particular subject is assigned to be a TA, a teaching assistant, even though that teaching assistant is not a professor, but some of them are so good that they are even able to explain the subject matter even better than the professor himself. So a lot of students get attached to the TA even more than the professor himself, because the TA is able to explain vividly. So my question is, based on this thing, is it necessary to be very is it very necessary to be very concerned about whether a guru is Uttama, a guru is Madhyama, or a guru is Kanista? Is it very necessary? Because somebody like me, for instance, when I read Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj books, it throws me off. I don't understand anything because the English he even use is so difficult for me to understand. But when I read a similar thing that Prabhupada has said, it's easier. So the thing is, sometimes the TA is able to explain something to us more for us to get the better understanding of the real thing. So that is where I'm coming from. So my question is it very necessary? Is it necessary that we get ourselves concerned about whether a guru is Madhyama, a guru is Kanista, or a guru is Uttama? Is it very important? Is it very necessary?
Due to circumstances right now, it's maintained by the GBC, by leadership, that Srila Prabhupada's books are the law books for us at this time, currently speaking, and that you can't appoint someone to Uttama Adhikari. They tried that in the Gaudiya Math. They tried to appoint the Supreme Acharya, and they went to court and had, litigation. So although you can say, well, Uttama Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, Kanishta Adhikari, we're all being guided by the Mahabhagavat Uttama Adhikari through his words.
Yes.
That's most of highest importance, is of far more important, unparalleled importance. And the Madhyama Adhikari or the Kanishta Adhikari, whoever you take initiation from, hopefully Madhyam, means in the mood of preaching, brings you to Srila Prabhupada. We're working on operating under the umbrella lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada through his purports. He's written thousands of purports, and his words are living words. He's speaking to us directly. You're sitting in the room reading Bhagavatam, having Bhagavatam class. Prabhupada's there. I only associated with Prabhupada 5 times personally in Bhagavatam class in Los Angeles. So what really is empowering us is constantly serving him, serving his mission, and then being able to absorb his instructions through his purports. Now, Prabhupada also told us, why are you reading other Acharya's books? One time he said, you should focus on my books. First read my books and assimilate and imbibe all that's there in my books. Why are you jumping to Bhakti Siddhanta or Bhakti Vinod Thakur? They're great acharyas. But for our situation, Krishna has empowered Srila Prabhupada. You can say customized. Prabhupada's purports are customized to our particular generation or situation, and the times, modern times now, and so on, certain circumstances. Bhaktisiddhanta was more, his focus was more, destroying the apasampradayas, destroying the impersonalists, and so on in India. because his focus was on bringing all kinds of people into the Gaudiya Sampradaya, whether they were caste, low caste or whatever. He didn't care, and that had to be driven home. With Prabhupada's purports, you can see he's speaking about, different countries. The modern ethos is to get lots of money and have lots of, sense gratification. It's a different circumstance. But we always have to, the guru, whoever he may, whatever platform he's on, whatever rung in the ladder he's on, should put Prabhupada in the center. And then he, that's just the real litmus test of a real guru, is to honestly put Prabhupada in the center and get his disciples to focus on Srila Prabhupada's directives and instructions. And as a veteran devotee, if you're a devotee for 40, 50 years, yes, you can guide your followers contingent on Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Now that you can make up your own stuff or start changing things, don't misinterpret or anything like that. Yeah. So that's kind of my answer. Like, I don't see that anyone's even close to Srila Prabhupada in terms of being a TA.
Yeah.
A substitute teacher. No. I haven't seen anyone. And I've been in a room with Prabhupada. Nothing like Srila Prabhupada, in my experience. So hopefully, a great Mahabhagavat may arise and emerge from these devotees. Who knows what Lord Chaitanya's plan is? But that's in the hands of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He empowered Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada wasn't a big sannyasi. He wasn't the prominent disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta, but Bhaktisiddhanta said that he will do everything. He told Prabhupada, there's fire in these walls, too much, material desires and so on, too much conflict. So he said, you should, if you get money, print books. And that's what Prabhupada did. He got money and he printed books in all the languages of the world. And that's success. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Late your time. Prabhuji, we know you are on the Holy Dam, Mayapur. Just 2 days ago, Lord Chaitanya advented himself. And so the mercy is flowing now. And we are on our knees. Actually, not on our knees. We are paying our full dandavats like a stamp of wood on the floor, offering our obeisance. You remember us in your prayers while being on the dam, so that we remain at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada till time indefinite. This is our heartfelt desires. And just as we read, Lord Krishna fulfills each and everyone's desires. This is our desire. Today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, till time indefinite, that we never leave Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. So, thank you so much,
Prabhu.
Thank you. And with that being said, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered uncle and grand uncle, His Grace Kripanidhi Prabhu. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All glories to His Grace Kripanidhi Prabhu.